welcome back to another video. This really popped when I saw it. That to me is a monster increase. Again, this book got hot. This book is ready to go higher. So let's jump right into it. We are back today with another statue review from Diamond Select Toys. Without further ado, let's get into the review. Comic books have given us some of the truly memorable works of art, but the best of them were shown right on the covers. Mainly featuring heroes and villains in colorful costumes, comic book covers have succeeded in catching readers' attention, but these covers are truly the best of the best. These are, in my opinion, the 10 greatest comic covers of all time. We are going to start off our list with a book that I talk about all the time here on this channel, and I call it the Trifecta. It is a copy of the Amazing Spider-Man number 50 in this iconic cover by the great John Romita in this incredible storyline, Spider-Man No More. One of the most iconic Spider-Man stories, Spider-Man No More, Peter becomes frustrated with his life and decides to throw away his Spider-Man outfit and quit being Spider-Man. What will it take to remind Peter that with great power comes great responsibility? Now, this book was published July 1st in 1967. The writer was Stan Lee, and the cover, of course, was the great John Romita. Right now on the CGC census, there are a total 7,360 copies graded by CGC. Of course, the highest being at a CGC 9.8, which recently sold in November 2022 for $99,000. Next up, let's stay in the Silver Age of comics and also in the Amazing Spider-Man title for issue number 39, and again, the cover artist is the great John Romita. This book was published on August 1st of 1966, written by the great Stan Lee and again penciled by the great John Romita. In this story, we find out that Peter Parker and the Green Goblin find out each other's identities. Peter Parker never seems to catch a break, at least not under the pencils of the legendary artist John Romita. The CGC census has a total of 3,967 copies graded, with a total of 3,284 universal blue labels. Also, the highest sale was at a CGC 9.8 in June of 2023 for $52,800. You guys know this is my all-time favorite cover in comics. I absolutely love the way the blues and the purples and the greens bounce off of each other. John Romita is one of the best at bringing out colors on comics. Let's switch over to the Golden Age of Comics for our next top cover. It is a copy of Captain America Comics number 1 in this iconic cover by the great Joe Simon and Jack Kirby. What a better way to introduce a hero clad in America's flag during World War II than by showing him decking Hitler right in the face. Simple and effective, we have Joe Simon and Jack Kirby to thank for this one. Not only did they co-pencil this book, but they co-wrote this book as well. This book features the origin and first appearance of Captain America, Steve Rogers, and Bucky. And according to the CGC census data, there are a total of 192 copies graded by CGC, with the highest being a 9.8. But according to GPA, the highest graded sale of a Universal Blue Label was in April of 2022 for $3,120,000, a San Francisco pedigree. Staying in the golden age of comics but switching genres, how about we get to a classic pre-code horror cover, and in my opinion, the greatest of all time. It is a copy of Chamber of Chills number 19 in this iconic cover by the great Lee Elias. This book was published by Harvey Publications in 1953. But not only that, there are a total of 131 copies graded by CGC, the highest being a near mint 9.6 in universal grade. Not only that, we had a universal 9.6 sell in November of 2021 according to GPA for $102,000, the most iconic pre-code horror comic of all time. Jumping ahead to the Copper Age is a copy of Incredible Hulk number 340, and this classic covered by Todd McFarlane, one of the most influential artists of our time. This book was published February 1st of 1988, and it looks like Wolverine and the Hulk are about to go at it again. Could it have ended any other way? These two have had so many epic brawls throughout the years, they were bound to meet up again in the top covers competition. Todd McFarlane makes the fury palpable between the two sparring partners, and heaven help anyone who gets in their way. Right now, according to CGC, there are a total of 12,689 copies graded by CGC, 10,326 universal grade, with the highest graded being a CGC Mint 9.9 with 3 available. The highest sale according to GPA analysis was a Universal Blue Label 9.8 for $1,000 in November of 2023. We go from one Incredible Hulk cover to the one that started it all. Of course, we're talking about Incredible Hulk #1 and the origin and first appearance of the Incredible Hulk, Bruce Banner. Now, this book was published May 1st of 1962 and penciled by Jack King Kirby. Is he a man, monster, or both? The jury is still out on that one, but fans have decided that this cover by Jack Kirby is one of Marvel's best. Not only does this book feature an iconic cover by the great Jack Kirby, but also boasts many first appearances of characters we know and love still to this day, like Rick Jones, Betty Ross, and the great General Thunderbolt Ross. According to CGC, there are only 2,081 copies total, with the highest grade being a CGC 9.4. The last sale for a CGC 9.2 universal grade was in November of 2018 for $336,000. Let's stay in the Silver Age of Marvel and talk about the greatest comic book character of all time. If you haven't guessed it, it's Spider-Man and his origin and first appearance in Amazing Fantasy number 15. This book was published in August 1st of 1962, and the cover was drawn by the great Jack Kirby. But if you don't know this story, the original cover to this book was actually penciled by the great Steve Ditko, but Stan Lee decided at the last minute that he wasn't crazy about the cover and asked Jack Kirby to do another one. The first appearance of the Amazing Spider-Man. When young Peter Parker gains remarkable abilities from a radioactive spider, he must step up and try to become a hero, while also dealing with the fantastic pressures of an everyday teenager. For with great power, there must also come great responsibility. Now, according to the CGC census, right now there are actually only 3,810 copies graded by CGC, a lot less than I originally thought. 2,481 universal grade copies. Now, the highest graded copy according to CGC is a Near Mint Plus 9.6, and according to GPA, the last sale on a Universal 9.6 was $3,600,000 in September of 2021. Sticking with Spidey is probably one of the most homaged covers of all time. It is a copy of Amazing Spider-Man 300 and this classic cover by Todd McFarlane. One of the fiercest rivalries of all time is born in battle as Spider-Man meets his deadliest foe, a terrifying entity with all his powers, twice the muscle, and 2 reasons to hate the wall crawler. Because the symbiote costume that Peter Parker rejected has bonded with disgraced reporter Eddie Brock, who blames Spidey for ruining his career. Together, they are Venom. They've already terrorized Mary Jane, and now they seek revenge of their mutual nemesis. Can Peter summon all his strength and will and somehow find a weakness to exploit in Venom? Or will the bell toll for Spider-Man? From the fan-favorite creative team of David Michelinie and Todd McFarlane, it's one of the all-time great Marvel comic books. This book was published in May of 1988 and boasts the origin and first full appearance of Venom. Right now, according to the CGC census, there are 35,394 copies of Amazing Spider-Man 300, with the highest being graded at a CGC 9.9 Mint. And the last sale of a Universal Grade 9.9 was back in July of 2017 for $13,500. How could we do a video about top covers without having our next book on it? It is a copy of Silver Surfer #4 and this classic cover by John Buscema. This book was published February 1st of 1969 and features Loki, the Master of Deception, convincing the Silver Surfer that Thor is up to no good. An epic battle between two brothers, powerful forces, commences. Now, according to CGC, there are a total of 5,321 copies graded by CGC, 4,654 of them being Universal Blue Labels. The highest grade being a CGC 9.8 Near Mint Mint. 25 copies available, and according to the last sale of a 9.8 universal grade was $66,000 in September of 2023. For our last book, we have to go all the way back to the golden age of comics and the second year of superhero comics to talk about our next book. If you haven't guessed it, it is a copy of Detective Comics number 31 in this iconic cover by Bob Kane. But not only that, this book features the first appearance of the Batplane and the first appearance of the Monk and Julie Madison. This book was published in September of 1939. According to the CGC census, there are only a total of 99 copies available for sale, the highest being a CGC 8.0 universal grade. If you watched my channel for a bit, you know I actually own a CBCS copy of this book and a 5.0 restore grade, so at least one more copy exists out there, so we'll call it 100. The last sale of a universal grade was at a CGC 6.0 in March of 2017 for $175,000. So I want to thank you guys again for joining me for this video today. Again, there have been so many great comic book covers. It was really hard for me to kind of narrow them down to just 10. But like I said at the beginning of this video, these are my opinions. Some of the nearest and dearest books to my heart are on this list. Of course, I own a lot of them as well, but there are so many iconic covers out there that I didn't mention, like Amazing SpiderMan number 316, like all the new modern covers by Archer, and some phenomenal artwork has been done over the past 100 years in comics, and this video would just go on and on forever if I had to acknowledge them all, but these are 10 of my favorites. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics and Collectibles saying thank you for watching, and I will talk to you guys soon.